Hi everyone, it's Cindy. Welcome back to Studioloo. I'm here today with The Imaginative Naturalist. So this book I was very inspired to make because of this 1812 postcard album cover. It was part of an estate auction of 1812 items that I won some time ago. It had a Victorian scrapbook, this little page here from another book that's also from 1812. It's a little snapshot of that year, that all the things that I got. So I really wanted to make use of this special book cover that was separated from the spine of the original postcard album, which is, by the way, full of old postcards. So I utilized a sketchbook cover, and I've created this nice big book here. It is about 12 by 9, and it's a different kind of book in that it's not like, first of all, it's big. There's pages that protrude out the side and at the top. Not so much on the bottom though, because I figured if you wanted to stand it up, you wouldn't want to be crushing your pages. So the cover I did a lot of work on. So there's a lot of bronzing, gilding around the edges and in different areas here. This is some cordage that's made from jute that's been stitched on. There's an eyelet here with more cordage holding this lovely little silver leaf. This is eucalyptus and birch bark that's been sealed down, and a thumbtack here through it. I've stitched on this little page here. It's from an 1812 book that is actually journal entries, and it's from Monday, April 23rd, 1711. There's a little bit of kind of a hint here. Traveled ladies who have lived in the smoke of London. So that's kind of going to give you a feel for the personality of this book. I've also purposely weathered it and given it kind of a grungy feel. These are some rusted paper clips that have been stitched on. On the back, I've made several of these fun rough specimen cards. This one has some hydrangea inside, and then there's this lovely little key that I added. It says Presto on it, and it's a little tiny key. It's very cute. So, and then you'll see there's some gilding and wearing and scratch marks, like maybe she was counting some days or something like that. Okay, so let's hop into this book. So first of all, this lovely little picture here, this very old picture is from the 1930s, and I figured that she is the imaginative naturalist. So this is her lap book. She's busy, she's excited, she's got a lot of things in her brain all the time, and she's really interested in the natural world. So that's kind of where I went with this. So I used and did a lot of techniques of like weathering this folder to create this inner double pocket. So you'll see in the background also, so this is another inspiration for me to make this book, funny enough. This is actually a paper towel that I used to put underneath. You can see in here my rusty bits. So this, then it just inspired me. It was so rusty and interesting that I made it patina by adding a lot of inks to it and coffee staining it and gilding it, and it has the best feel. It's been Mod Podge sealed down. It's matte, and it's just got a really nice touch to it. It's hard to explain. Then I've used some rusting materials and some corrosion type materials to just make this grungy and fun. So inside we have a ghost leaf in this gilded specimen card that I made. So that is back there. And then we have another specimen card that I made with my own dried ginkgo leaves, and this is all my dyed papers all around. And then this is a vintage photograph. So this is a winter scene. It's actually a tintype. I don't know if you can see the silver sheen when I turn the photo in different angles. It's a snowy pathway and a bunch of trees. So all of that is in there. Then page 1 opens to this beautiful like page. So this is eucalyptus, and it's been iron dyed, this paper. So I recently did a video on revealing a boiled book. So this was probably my favorite paper out of it. It's actually construction paper. It's very heavy. It's very like crinkly sounding and nice. Like it has a, I don't know, a feel to it and a sound that just I like. Then we have a field guide page from a mushroom book on the entomomatales. I can never say some of these species, these mushroom species. They get a little too long for my tongue to spit the word out. But it's a lovely mushrooms on each side. This is some of my dyed parchment. It's nice and crinkly, so it gives the whole book a bit of sound. And it's been dyed with avocado. This is cabbage dyed logbook paper, and it's kind of grungy and fun. This is a page from an encyclopedia about basically natural things on the earth. So these are ornamental stones. It talks about ores and marble and all sorts of different stones. Over here, British stones, rocks, igneous rocks. Then we have, this is a page from a plant book, and it just has some different plant instructions. Again, so a lot of this book has kind of been left natural, so I feel like it's the kind of thing you can put your own art on. So I have left some text pages like this for you to stick things on or actually do your art and put it in. Then there is this map here. This is a map of Poland and Austria, and Europe in 1648 and Europe in 1812. This is a paper bag. And then on top we have another specimen card with another specimen of eucalyptus. And that just has a rusty paper clip at the top to just clip it on here. So we'll just take it off and clip it back on. Now, this is, there's a lot of pages in here from old books about conservation, nature, and science, and that kind of thing. So this is an early photograph of a butterfly farm showing breeding cages. The farm was started in 1894. Initially, it specialized in breeding rare butterflies for the private collector. Now, large quantities of comparatively common species are bred and sold in many countries for demonstration and experiment in colleges and laboratories. So maybe this is something that she's been studying. This side we have a nice image of an entomologist's kind of document about different kinds of beetles, and then some lovely moths here. And then this is a large format macro photography book about plants. So it's nice because you can see all the very fine details, the little tiny hairs of the plants. This is large format encyclopedia that has been cabbage dyed. And then this is a manila pocket here that has one of my eco-printed paper tags in. I've included a lot of eco-dyed paper. And then a map page from an old map. Then this is an Audubon bird image of the wild turkey. And back here it talks about the whippoorwill. And then this is an old plant book, botany book, and another map. This one of British Columbia. Then over here is some avocado dyed paper, and this is from a garden of wildflowers, the index page. This is cabbage dyed paper. And then on this side you'll see it's large format encyclopedia again. This is a CD pocket that has been avocado dyed. In behind this is a little telephone paper, like a telephone list that's been cabbage dyed. And then this is a luggage tag with a coffee stained ribbon attached, a lace, and that just pops in the pocket. I've added some pages kind of on slants because I just wanted this to feel very haphazard. Like she's, you know, discovering so many exciting things about plants and animals and insects, and she's just really immersed in science, and she's just putting these books together because it's capturing a lot of what she's learning. This would actually be a really fun book to do your own nature study in. So this is basically a page about the figwort. plant and the let's see if it mentions this plant. You'll see it on the other side, but it's got plant information on both sides. Then I've made a little tuck spot here with an old book page from a late 1800s book, and it's from a chapter called A Journey to the Spring. And then this is a lemon balm page from an herb book, and then a piece of my eco-printed paper just tucks in here. And then we have some tea leaves here, and some, you can see some honey, is it honeysuckle, I think? And then these are the leaves that you see kind of popping out. This is an avocado dyed page, and I've stitched some silk leaves on the side just to give it kind of a more plant element, you know, immediately when you see the book. And this is a beautiful page from an old botany book. It has these lovely helicopters or maple seeds and chestnuts and chestnut leaves. And this is a little book from an entomology text, and I found this in, it was from like the 60s, and I found this in my recycling center, and it's such a cool book, and it's so well used. It's got all this writing and highlighting in it, and they made these old masking tape tags for the bug family, and so there's all of the wings for the suborder Planipenia. This is a crinkly coffee stained pocket made from writing paper, and inside we have a journal card with butterflies and a caterpillar. That's from a magazine from Holland. And then more of those lovely plants, more avocado dyed leafy paper, and then these lovely flowers. Wild Ingredients, Farewell to Spring, Summer's Darling, Herald of Summer, Goodicea. It's more plant information. And then more of the large format encyclopedia. This one has a fish on it. And then more of that index page, and I've attached a coffee dyed envelope, and inside a tall tag made from my eco-printed paper. It's watercolor paper, FYI. All of the papers that you see that have been eco-printed and added as ephemera are all done on watercolor paper, heavy watercolor paper. This is a map of Yukon and the Northwest Territories, and then more botany book. And another Audubon bird illustration of the whippoorwill. I used to love listening to them when we went camping when I was a kid. It was so great to hear them just going, whippoorwill, whippoorwill in the trees. It was great. And some information about the common eater, another bird. More map, cabbage dyed paper. This is an avocado dyed 45 album cover, and inside I popped this vintage document that I just got recently at an estate auction, Budapest 78. I'm not sure exactly what this document is. It's got a postmark, so I don't know if it's like maybe an invoice or like a shipping kind of thing. I'm not sure, but it's from the 4th of November 1942. And that just pops inside the album cover here. And I'm happy to finally have a book big enough to support using this as a pocket. I really wanted to do that ever since I dyed these. Then this is another large macro photography image. And then we have some washi tape here with lovely birds and text. This is actually an old book cover from... You'll see the book later on. I can't remember if it's a Tennyson book, but it's an old book, and I wanted to just keep all of this fun handwriting. It was just so nice. And then it's on top of the other side of that page that had these beautiful moths here, so it was like a entomology textbook. And then this is more of my eco-printed paper. That just pops in there. And then on this side we have Alfred Russel Wallace, British naturalist and entomologist, and a contemporary of Darwin. In 1848, Wallace set off with Bates on an expedition to the Amazon. Without proper equipment, they had to contend with an environment similar to that depicted in the engraving from Flora Brasiliensis by the zoologist von Spix and the botanist von Martius. So there's a bunch of information about this gentleman and entomology in general, and just essentially how entomology got started, and locating and catching insects, because it was a bit of a different, you know, way of doing things in the 1800s. But I was thinking, you know, these are the kind of people that she would be researching, you know, researching how they did things and then maybe refining more gentle methods. This is the other side of that paper bag that we saw, and I've strengthened these two areas with some coffee dyed paper, put some eyelets through, and then this is some bookbinding waxed linen that I've tied on here in a bow, and it just pops out and you can pull this right out. So this is a large piece of my eco printed paper, and it just goes on in that pocket. And maybe this was like a note that she really wanted to, you know, keep it safe, because maybe someone that she came into contact with had given her a really good tip about something in the natural world, and she wanted to definitely make sure she didn't lose it. Or it could have been, you know, maybe a note from her mother, or it could have been, who knows, maybe it's a love note. And over here we have more map. This Europe in 1763, 1815 to 1839. More Poland, and then the Amaryllidaceae. I'm really bad at these species names. I think everyone is. Hemanthes is the normal name, and then Hematocactus, and then sedimentary rocks, metamorphic rocks, and some more information on just different things in the natural world, be they plants, animals. We've got strawberry tree, stream, stubble, sturgeon, sugar beet, sundew, and swallow. And then this is some log paper that's been cabbage dyed, a crinkly parchment that's been avocado dyed, and then another of these mushroom field guide pages, the Corton aerialis. So lots of cool mushroom info. Another of my big boiled book pages. You can see a lot of different leaves here. This one turned out really fun. And then some of my eco-printed fabric that you'll see here. This is silk, and it's dyed with sumac. And then this is more of the parchment that has this time been coffee dyed, and some coffee dyed logbook paper. And this is a beautiful page of wildflowers. It's from an old book. There's some fun other yellow flowers down here, the dandelions. And then just a little fun stationery page that has this drawn bow on it. It's just a fun page. And then cabbage dyed log paper. This is the American mud dauber wasp. So some information on him. And over here, this bunny, talking about the wild rabbit of Central and Southern Europe. And then more of the mushroom field guide, the Entolometales. And avocado dyed paper. I had to, of course, going through the Audubon book, I had to put the Canada Goose in here. I mean, I'm Canadian, you know, you have to include this guy when you can. And then some info on the ruffled grouse. And then this is the rhinoceros beetle, some information on them, and a chalcid fly. This is paper that's been dyed with coffee and cabbage dyed together, and it's got some imprinting of some fun knots, like rope that's been knotted. Throughout this book, you'll see several of these. This is an actual watercolor painting, and this is the artist's name here, Mary Grieve, and I'm not exactly sure. It looks like it shows 820. I don't know what that means. But this painting I got from our local recycling center. They were having kind of like a we have too much art kind of clear out day. And so I picked up this painting because I thought it was beautiful. And, you know, if you're familiar with a lot of early botanists and explorer type people who were, you know, not like doing colonial exploration, but people who were exploring the natural world. So illustration and botany and painting and, you know, bringing exploration of the world and art together. It was a very popular kind of marriage of the turn of the century. And so, you know, even the artists that we celebrate a lot as junk journal people like Edith Holden, etc., like they were doing exactly that. They were trying to capture the details in art of nature. So I felt like it was very fitting to include this watercolor. It was a really big painting, so I cut it down into several pieces for this journal. And then I have a rusty bulldog clip here that has some kind of ratty lace attached to it, and it just holds this on here, and this is on top of the boiled book paper. And then that's more of the boiled book with this beautiful stem of leaves. Those are actually leaves from a rose bunch. And then this is more illustration, botany illustration, avocado dyed paper, bergamot, more of the tea leaves related plant information, horehound, and then we have another garden of wildflowers page that's been put in kind of sideways and fun. And then this is cabbage dyed paper, large format encyclopedia with a fish here, and another of these maps. This is the Russian-British rivalry information, United States, the growth of Canada, and then this is a cabbage dyed page with a large text, and then a coffee dyed pocket here. More of that lovely painting that I've made a tag out of that goes in this pocket. And then in behind we have this large page from this vintage botany book. Very beautiful. And it talks about Himalaya and China and the plants of that area on the back. Lots of writing space on the back as well. And then more of that fun page. Spring Beauty, Cost Mary, Anise Hyssop, avocado dyed paper. This is a little cluster made with real leaves and a little bit of a crochet doily, and then this is a little painting that I did of a mushroom stamp of an amanita mushroom, and then it has a little coffee dyed Rolodex card. And more of the boiled book. This one has really nice purples and blues in it along with the black leaves. More of that same cabbage dyed paper, large format encyclopedia, another fish, and then this beautiful wildflower page that's here. Coffee dyed index card pocket with a couple things inside. So back here we see a locust, and then here is an Audubon birds. This is actually a book cover of these lovely mallards. That just tucks in here, and it's folded up at the back for more writing space. And then this is more of my eco-printed paper. And back here we have a cabbage white butterfly and a bit of a map of where butterflies are found. And this is the Carolina parakeet from the James Audubon birds, and some info about the osprey. Avocado dyed paper, the Cortinera, blah, blah, blah. I'm so bad. Mushrooms, mushroom field guide. And this is a monarch or milkweed butterfly, and this is the map of where they travel around to. And we have a dragonfly here talking about the migrating dragonfly, Libellula quadrimaculata. Oh, those are such long names. Okay, cabbage dyed logbook paper. Then we have this pocket, more of that lovely painting, and inside we have a couple things. So this little children's book page, I figured this could be like a nice little thing, like maybe someone in her family gave it to her and said like, look, you know, this is a beautiful book, and like it was a children's book page. So it's got some caterpillars and some children's book page writing on the back, and maybe she just thought it was precious. Maybe it was one of her nieces or something. And then this is another of the Rolodex cards that has been coffee dyed. More beautiful wildflowers, thistles, which are my favorite. The green and inconspicuous flowers. more logbook paper and more crinkly parchment that's been avocado dyed. The pileated woodpecker from James Audubon's Birds. Information on the peregrine. More map paper. More of the botany book. And then this is more of the boiled book. You can see some rusty bits and cogs on this page. And then some leaves from a botany book. Some coffee dyed logbook paper. More of the 1960s entomology book with the fun tabs and more insect wings. Avocado dyed paper. This is a fish log from a fish log book. So the date, river, lake, etc., number of fish, total weight, weight of the largest, flies, spinners, wind and weather remarks. So maybe she did a little bit of fly fishing. And then this is more of the botany book, Guyonara, and a cactus here. And some more of the cabbage dyed large format paper, vegetation, topography, temperature, rainfall, and more of the mushroom field guide. More coffee dyed paper. This is the macro photography botany book. This is cabbage dyed log paper. And then here's that book cover that I was telling you about, the Tennyson, Coleridge and Tennyson book. So this is a lovely old book cover. It was a tiny little book, and I just thought it's a softer cover, so it wouldn't have been ideal to make a journal out of. So I made this lovely pocket, and inside is a journal card made from that watercolor painting. And then this is on a brad, so it will spin all the way around. And it's another of the specimen cards that I made with these little seeds here inside. It's a lot of fun. And flight and migration, and we see 6 species of robber fly wings. More of the wildflowers. More avocado dyed paper. The entomology book. More wildflowers, water plants. And then this is a pocket that's been made from that lovely watercolor painting. We see some more mottled umber, spring usher, and winter moths, so moths down here. And then inside we have another piece of my eco-printed paper, and I've stitched some birch bark to the bottom here. And that just pops up there in the tuck. And then this is just a lovely little piece of textured paper where I felt like it was just a nice piece of stationery. And then here we have a coffee stained index card pocket, and it's on like an encyclopedia page. And then another piece of the botanically dyed paper with some more birch bark stitched on top. And then this is from a children's book about time and clocks, and it's a calendar, and on the back it talks about like Greenwich Mean Time and the international dateline. And then over here we have the convolvulus hawk moth, more cabbage dyed log, and the large format flowers, mushroom field guide, another map, the cabbage dyed paper, more botany, more of the fish log, avocado dyed page, more of the entomology, then another coffee dyed index card pocket, and inside a tag made from that beautiful watercolor. And then this is a very old and brittle piece of paper, and it's from a book on conservation. It was put out from the Audubon Society of Canada, and I think it was from the 1950s. I can't remember which year, but it's really cool. It's got this wonderful squirrel illustration. And one last word from Marie E. Godet. it's kind of nice because it talks about nature, teaching about nature. There must be some fun, lightness, and fellowship in the teaching of nature, or it becomes as dry as a bug on a pin. Never let a lack of knowledge keep you from opening the door of nature to someone else. We all had to begin somewhere, and most of us can remember laboring over CAT and DOG and not being too sure which was which. If you lack knowledge in nature, never be ashamed of it. Anyone who would laugh at you is not worth his salt. Keep your eyes open to find ways to put nature knowledge to work for the community. It can be and is done, but it takes imagination. You have that, haven't you? Never lose patience when helping other people to learn. Learning flows more easily through the channels of kindness and encouragement. Do every bit of nature you can out of doors rather than indoors. As far as you can, keep nature a study of living things as they live rather than a study of dead things. Be as enthusiastic about another person's first robin as though it were not your 2,499th of the season. Learn along with your group even if you can't keep one step or a half step ahead. Go out, keep your eyes open, your ears cocked, your nose sniffing, hands free, mouth shut, and feet dry. Good luck. I just thought that was wonderful. That would be kind of the whole mission statement of this woman and this book. So there's some Audubon Nature Bulletin information back here, info about the National Audubon Society, government offices. I just thought that was a little treasure of a final word from the lovely Marie E. Godet. So had to include it because it's just lovely. And it's on logbook paper. And then we have more tea leaves, pineapple sage, roses, and the boiled book page again. This one's nice as well because it has eucalyptus and then rose stems. And some info on the Calycanthus. More map. This is population distribution, agriculture, industry, and resources. And another Audubon bird page, the American kestrel or sparrowhawk. And the screech owl information here at the back. And then we're back to this fun grungy cover again, or inside paper. So this, I also made this fun like tuck area at the back that has multiple tucks here. And you'll see the eyelet there with the tie for that key. And this is again a folder that I treated with alcohol ink and all sorts of things like alcohol, coffee, ink, you name it, it's there. I just wanted to make it kind of weathered. And then it has this label from an old book, the catalog of S.W. Partridge & Co.'s popular illustrated books. So I figure she was probably a reader. She's doing a lot of studying. So in the back I have placed this large piece of my eco-printed paper. These are the marks from rose petals. And this was a red begonia plant. So yeah, that goes back here. And then a couple more things. Another journal card from that beautiful watercolor. And this is the last of the specimen cards, and it's with a really lovely piece of coin eucalyptus. It's got a lot of color in it. There's amber and green and black, and it's just a beautiful leaf. So, and there's an eyelet in this one as well. And that brings us to the end of this book. And I showed you the back cover already. So yeah, I'm really stoked about this book. I feel like it's a little bit different from what I've been working on lately. And it's been in my head for a while to create some books that have this kind of feel to them. So I hope you like it. And if you're interested in this book, it will be in my Etsy shop if you're seeing this video. And thank you so much for watching. If you liked watching this flip through and you enjoy paper and fiber art, that's what I do here, and I would love to have you, so please subscribe and take care of you. Bye for now.